Hey everybody, I'm just typing hello. I have no idea if this is a good time to go live because I think that you guys are probably going to be sleeping on the other side of the world, but you know, I just had a little bit of free time, so I thought that I'd have a chat to you guys. Next door did quieten down, so I got the opportunity to record one of my videos, so I'll edit that tonight. And that's the one on affirmations. I think they're going to be building next door for like 6 months, so I'm probably going to have to deal with this regularly, or I'm going to have to time it a lot better. So I was just telling everyone that I was able to record one of my videos on affirmations and why they don't work for some people and how you can sort of get around that and make it happen for you. Right. Got some strange comments happening here. Hello. So I hope you guys enjoyed some of my Tesla documents. I do encourage you guys to go read for it yourself and investigate into things, because you know it's better to really see these things for yourself. So I really encourage all of that. But how strange is the last one that I know that Nikola Tesla had the interplanetary communications going on, and he kept declaring that, and people in the modern day scientists kept saying, oh, that's with other planets. It was just other planets, star systems, they have their own thing. But Tesla wasn't trying to say that. I think he was trying to say that he was getting intelligent life signal back. So, and he was very ahead of his time. I think one thing that people don't really think about, I don't think they understand his level of consciousness that he was at. He was at a much higher level of consciousness, and he was accessing very high levels of psychic ability, which we all can actually. But he was probably at a certain level, or his own soul evolution was at a certain level. And you can always tell this. Because of his actual, interests. His interests were never self-serving. When they're never self-serving, then you have a very good idea of their own vibration. When they're self-serving, then they're a hijacked individual. Okay? Their energy has been compromised to a certain extent in another layer of reality. So I think that that's something that you guys have to, be aware of and pay attention to. If ever you are researching anybody, you can tell by their motivation and what they were doing to see if they were a hijacked energy form or not. Mind you, I'm watching this Netflix series at the moment, which is called Another Life, and it's actually about aliens that come to the planet in a ship, and they're trying to communicate with this ship, but then, they send a crew to basically try and go to that planet and communicate, because out of defense, they get a little bit worried about how that's going to turn out in the communications. So Jason's saying, I'm struggling to find my purpose in life. I have various passions in life. I think that sometimes it's people overcomplicate it, and they think that they have to reach a certain level of material success or status of some type. Success can really just mean contentment. So I have a comment here. Your hair is... Thanks. I've actually got a brush. I'm just going to brush my hair right now. All natural. Your purpose is to know yourself, which is basically, it really is. I'm French and I want to learn English. Well, We're all speaking English here, so you're in the right place if you want to learn that. So I've got Erica who's tuned in. Hello, what's up? It's just my day off, guys, and this is the worst possible time to do this because everyone in America I know is probably asleep right now, or they're almost going to go to sleep, or it's very, very late. I think in LA, it's probably like 11 p.m. or something right now. So I apologize for doing that, but I was so busy earlier on in the day. But you know, if I have time tomorrow morning, I possibly could. But I wanted to know if you guys had any comments about the Tesla posts that I did. If you guys had any questions, or if you just wanted to throw things out there, or if you had researched different things, you know, while we're on the topic of that. 3 a.m. in Toronto. Oh God, so that's going to be the same in NYC. If you watch the affirmations video that I am going to post, I really suggest that you really look into that, because that is how, you know, I've asked people a number of different people, even people like Billy Carson and all of that, and they all have the exact same answer for me. And they're like, you really have to manifest it. And I know people can think that, oh, manifest is like this magical thing that's separate from you. Manifestation, you have the ability to manifest whatever you want. I think the humans have to remember that they're incredibly creative, because they are creators. You can manifest a job. You've just got to know like where it's coming from, your desire, and what your motive is. And the video will clarify some things. So I hope you guys can check that out. So does America have the documents to build the death ray? I actually don't know exactly, because I can only speculate. But based on the documents, they have a certain amount of documents. But you know, I have heard things that because of that Soviet espionage, I can't disprove that. So there could be some documents that were also in Russia or Serbia or Eastern Europe. So I really don't know. I just know that Russia is very, very advanced. They're actually a lot more advanced than we possibly think in relation to like their understanding of physics. And you know, they were really in the modern day world the first shamans. So they got this huge level of occult understanding and sciences. Someone was saying hello from England, so I just wanted to say hello back to you. So I don't know who exactly has those death ray records. It really could be either or Tesla really could have not exposed all of it or everything. And I want you to know that Tesla wasn't downloading anything that we can't access for ourselves. We would just have to be at a high level of consciousness to probably be able to interpret the information that he was interpreting, and to that extent. So everything is extracted from other dimensions. Okay, we exist within a quantum field. And I had a person actually message me today, which is funny because he's actually a famous singer. But he commented back because one of my posts, like one of my story posts, was saying that Tesla did not support the flat earth theory. I can prove that, and I'm going to do it in one of my next posts. So he was saying he only believed in the ether. I don't think people understand what the ether is. I think that they think it's a realm of something, and we're in the dark. Like, so much distorted information. The ether is, I would really just call it the quantum field that we exist within. The quantum informational field. That's what I've always called it, because it is the most sound way, or the easiest way of explaining it, at least in this dimension. Supposedly he divided the blueprints of the death ray and gave it to the governments. I mean, again, I can only speculate. I don't have an exact answer exactly. I've got a question. Why did Trump investigate Tesla's documents? I really don't know, but um, don't you think that's ironic? What a coincidence, that is. I mean, they always say that all the presidents have really been chosen in advance, or in there with a certain lineage of some sort or society of some sort. I really don't know. I can't say if it's positive an agenda or negative an agenda. I just think it's a very interesting thing that we should take into consideration and just note take all of it. Because to be honest, Tesla operated in a way where he didn't rely on anything like external. He took most of his notes up here because he was operating in a way where he could actually see the mathematics. Okay, so he wasn't existing in the same way that we were. But it doesn't mean that we can't download things. Tesla wasn't the only one. There are other amazing geniuses that exist in the world. It's like Einstein. Einstein got chosen because he was a part of certain alliances. That's actually the truth. There were many amazing like other inventors and physicists and stuff that have existed and around that time. But you got to be in certain alliances. Being in certain societies. Or even occult societies is very powerful. It's powerful today. And I will tell you that when I was with Jordan Maxwell in Nevada, he told me, he was like, I really think if there is one particular society or group of people that has extreme power, he goes, it's the Jesuits. And look, I don't typically like to segregate people in a certain way and blame an entire group, because there's going to be Jesuits that are innocent and that have nothing to do with this, just the same as I always try and tell the same thing about Freemasonry. Not everyone knows, like the 90% of the people wouldn't know any of the bad things that are happening within their group. But the Jesuits, and there's very good books you can read, which I haven't read entire books of them. I've only researched, in and come across different writings with the Jesuits. But you know what Jordan Maxwell also said to me? He was very, very specific, and he was like, I can tell you that the people who run this world aren't human. Because they are not human. Or they're at least being manipulated by something interdimensional. Because they're not human. And let me tell you that Jordan, he is so well knowledged on esoteric and occult information. He was trained under Manly P. Hall. One of his best friend was was the president's advisor. Like, this was a very well knowledged man, and he's been researching for 60 years, and he really said that. He was like, they're not human. They are not human. He goes, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's they're transforming or they just have avatar bodies. He goes, but they're not human. And he wants to dedicate the rest of his life, he's already 80, to exposing that. And I hope I can sort of help him along that journey. I mean, that's getting into the woo-woo stuff, right? That's not woo-woo to me. That's just normal. It's the same thing when you do channeling work and you do psychic work. That's normal. Dealing with interdimensional beings or entities is not a weird thing. That is a normal thing. And what scares us is when we talk to people who don't know this, we're like, wow, the person has no idea about reality, and you're not like, wow, I'm so much better than them. It's got nothing to do with that. It's like, holy shit, people really have no idea what's going on, in the world. And that's a real thing. Yeah, I mean, you can call them shapeshifters, you can call them shadow people, reptilians, you can say whatever you want. There's definitely certain reptilian influence, and this would be coming from the Orion star system. So that influence would definitely be coming from there. Without a doubt, remember, all of our pyramids on the whole planet are aligned to Orion's belt. And I also saw certain things in my own channeling sessions. And when I have had astral dreams, where I get shown information and it's like a telepathic transmission that happens. So someone's asking me what was his name. Who are you referring? Are you Jordan Maxwell? Is that the person? I just wanted to highlight that he was trained under Manly P. Hall. He was very good friends. You know, if you guys don't know who Manly P. Hall is, he was 33rd degree Freemason. You know, he was quite high ranking, very, very knowledgeable, but were all of his teachings pure? I don't know. I think there's been really high levels of infiltration in a lot of these organizations, a lot of these teachings, and you know, you get the esoteric and then you get the exoteric. So there's information that will be released to the public on a certain level. So I've got Drew Tarantino asking me, what do you think about the virus? You know what, I almost don't want to talk about it because it's, you know, consuming everyone right now. So I feel like people need a little bit of a break from it. Look, it came out of a lab. I can tell you that. It came out of a lab. Whether it was intentionally released or not, I don't know. But it would, like, coronavirus came out of the motherfucking lab. Period. Anyone who thinks that it came from a fucking wild animal, random wild animal, no. It's not conspiratorial. Biochemical warfare has so much history. So much history. You just need to look into it. You know, I'm not trying to scare people, so I won't get too much into it, you know. I had someone talking about how they manipulate through the grids. Yes, absolutely. That's how they, you know, but some information is for some people, some information is not, and that's something that I'm having to learn. So it definitely has stuff to do with the grids. Someone also asked me, have you read The Law of One? Yes, I read the entire Law of One. I highly suggest it too, to really open your mind. For me, I just kind of have this mentality where I'm like, I'm not going to give coronavirus my energy personally. When we can actually, because everything is energy, I know this is going to sound really weird to some people, but you can actually feed a sickness if the more fear you actually give it. But that's really the truth. Okay, because that fear, it's like an energy thought form. And it goes into the collective. So, for me, I'm like, that's not how I die. I don't die from coronavirus. That's not how I die. I know that's not how I die. That's just me personally. So, attention equals power. Yeah. So, yep, that's what I was saying today about feeding it with attention. Yeah, absolutely. It's just, okay, so I've got a question about, explain more about Orion's belt. You know, I learned so, man. Okay, so when I was attending Linda Moulton Howe's lecture, right? She's just one example of many. Orion's belt not only is aligned with all of the pyramids of the planet, but it is involved in so many of the ancient, you know, wisdoms and stories, and it's all associated with Orion's belt, and that really has to do with the Anunnaki and the origin of the Anunnaki. And Orion's, it has a huge, these are portals. They're portals. Okay, so don't think that this is a small area in the sky. This is a massive area. So somebody just asked that in the Law of One books, Ra also talks about the negative influence from Orion, but also talks about how they made and manifested the pyramids. I wonder why they aligned the pyramids to Orion. So that's why these are portals. Okay, so that's going to answer a certain part of your question. Yes, there was negative influence because, again, it's the Anunnaki, and then you'll get into like draconian influence. But You know, certain levels of different races, I think, have actually been infiltrated, so they're actually controlled and manipulated themselves. So I don't think that their own energies, I don't think they're fully controlling them. I think that there's other, even higher interdimensional influences over them. The Anunnaki is a very, very old race, and they definitely were involved in our genetic modification. Definitely. If you really look into it. I don't like to view them as all negative, though. Yes, there was negative influence of Orion. Yes, where did our hierarchical, you know, like power structures come from? They came from the Orion system, because they're the systems, they're the negative ones anyway. I don't like to rule. I don't like to be like, oh, all reptilians are bad or something like that. I think that it's so much more complex than that. You know, I don't like to rule them all out, just like I don't rule out all Freemasonries, you know, people involved in those societies. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit more down. I'm just reading through. I feel like Earth is kind of a zoo experiment created by a higher race. Yeah, kind of, but I don't think that, I think that the next thing that humans have to do is step into their power. I really feel like we can sit here and we can say how powerless we are, or we can really acknowledge how powerful we are and stop letting our reality being manipulated. And that's basically it. Moses got the commandments from the Orions group. You know, I don't know when humans are going to understand this, but one day they will have to accept that there was definitely, you know, interdimensional beings, extra dimensional beings that definitely have a huge part of our DNA, have a huge part of this reality in this world. So I've got someone saying, Earth is just a test to see which people are capable of ascending, probably like strong spirits or souls. I mean, again, it's more complex than that. I don't think it's about, oh, we're just going to ascend and then that's it. I think we all came here for a reason. So I'm never trying to run away from it. And then I would love to work in a place like Gaia. Then manifest it. Manifest it. And I'm going to teach you guys something with manifesting right now. When you want to manifest something, do it in a way where it is not self-serving. Where you do it in a way where it is coming from a place within you that wants to serve not just your highest potential, but it wants to serve the collective evolution. So your own soul evolution and the collective consciousness and source evolution. Because that way you will invite many other higher energies to you that will find that very appealing, because it's like when you do well, then so do other energies connected to you. Does that make sense? Because everything is connected in that way. It affects multiple things, just like they say that nuclear activity on the planet can affect other dimensions. I think that more stuff happens on a level that we don't fully understand. Someone's saying, didn't Gaia get exposed? No. And do you know what? I was actually when I was in Nevada last month, I was with Jay Widener, and I actually talked to him about it. And I don't know if you know, he's on a lot of Gaia programs, and he was one of the head producers. There's a lot of drama, you know, with a certain new age spirituality. There's a lot of drama, there's a lot of self-service that still exists within there. So you've got to be careful and you've got to filter through. Gaia is just a network. It's just a network. Even if you watch it yourself and you watch all the different episodes and you watch all the different interviews on there is no way, it's not biased towards anything. It's like you could have one person who's into, you know, going, this is what I believe, this is the books that I have, and this is what I teach, and I've studied psychology, and this is what I believe about life after death. And you can have someone, you know, 2 months later who just interviewed the same person, and they've got a different perspective. So it's not really biased to one specific thing. So saying that it's evil, or that, I don't know, I think that the people who in recent times did leave Gaia, I think that they might not be very good. And you can tell, and they've got multiple lawsuits against them, you know, now. Not that I wish anything bad upon anybody, I really, really don't. But I do wish for certain things to be exposed. I don't think Gaia has to be exposed. I even know that everyone at Gaia, did you know they have to take lie detector tests? Like, and if you don't take a lie detector test, which maybe the people who aren't on Gaia anymore, maybe they were some of the ones who didn't. Just putting it out there. But that actually is the truth. And I know because I spoke to people from Gaia about it. So if you're not willing to take a lie detector test, then they won't allow you on their programs. And if you're already on there, they'll boot you off. I'm reading a question. Why do white people feel that they know it all, opposed to listening to ancient wisdoms from native indigenous people of Mesoamerica, Africa, and Asia? I mean, look, hey, let's not, I don't want to point fingers at white people. You know, maybe there were certain influences in the Western world that weren't good, but not all people of lighter skin are bad. But do you know what's very interesting, which no one ever points out? Which I started, I don't know, I think I've thought about 2 years ago. I started to, when I was researching different channeling sessions that had even different quantum hypnosis sessions, people would channel information which would always talk about different countries on the planet having certain influences from certain DNA of certain different star systems, like the Pleiades. And can I just say, if you think of the globe right now, and you think of the northern hemisphere, and then you think of the southern hemisphere, I want you to think back in more ancient historical times, okay? Like indigenous people, or yeah, going more forward into the modern day era. I want you to think about the color of people's skin, right? In the southern hemisphere, no one was white. No one had Caucasian skin. It only developed from the northern hemisphere, right? Think about it. Think about all countries, all of the native indigenous people. They were all dark down the bottom. Africa, Australia, the Aboriginals, South Americans, you know, the Pacific Islanders, Easter Island. They were all darker. Indonesian, the dark Malays, if you look in all of the books, they'll say that they were very dark-skinned. Papua New Guineans. Where are all the white people? They only came from the northern hemisphere. And what's interesting is when you do go into a lot of channeling books and the channeling sessions, they will say that specific races from specific star systems came in. And I know that certain groups of the Pleiades influenced the northern hemisphere when they did certain genetic modification, which is really interesting. It's so interesting because it actually makes sense. All these things that have nothing to do with each other sort of all connect back at the end of the day. And so there was one particular channeling session with, oh my God, this woman does amazing channeling sessions, so informative. She was saying about how it started actually in Great Britain. It started in Great Britain, and if you even research into work of occultism and esotericism, you know that a lot of that, there's so much heavy occultism, which is like, look, Stonehenge in England, Ireland, Scotland, there is very, very heavy levels of occultism, right? Like right in front of you. Like that shit is as real as can be. Yeah, so, and then it stemmed around, you know what I mean? And then there was this huge Germanic influence, a huge Russian influence. And it kept highlighting these countries. And you look back in history and you're like, wow, okay, yeah, they've like got the biggest land areas, they're the biggest power, or they got certain heads, like London being the financial head of the world. The royal family there. There's a lot. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll back down. If you could recommend only one book, which would it be? You can't do that to me. There's too many amazing books. It really depends on what you want to focus on. You know, my research stems into so many different avenues because I have to, because it's all interconnected at the end. But I don't have one book. It really depends on what you want to focus on. Is it understanding your psychic self? Is it understanding your multidimensional self? Is it astral projection? Is it the world in general and how certain systems came into be? So many different ones. Okay, someone's asking about the lawsuits and who did what. I don't really want to get involved, in it, but if you do research into it yourself, because I'm not here to try and tear people down, but you can see which people left Gaia and how things are going for them right now. Look, I will tell you that Linda Moulton has some lawsuits against certain people, but you'll have to look, that information up for yourself, because I certain groups are very, very nasty to other people, and I don't want to get involved with that. I just really, really don't. You don't hear about it on the surface, but you hear about it with people involved. So someone's saying, I reckon Trump is getting his top scientists to work on Tesla's tech. I don't know. I really don't know. It's harder because I'm not based in America, so I'm not following your political system as well as I could be. I'm not, at least not up to date with it. Someone's saying, what's your perspective on the book The Eyes of Darkness, the one relating to the virus being released? Well, I did post about that on my story. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I've heard different things. Some people said that it's not real, but regardless, even if that's not real, I will tell you that there is a woman, I just don't remember her name, but I've got it in my photos in my gallery, who, she was a psychic, and she actually prophesied this. She said it was in 2020. She said it would be coming from China. She said it would cause a world epidemic. She said it would be pneumonia related, so viral. So she's very specific on that. But she said just as fast as it came, it will be gone. But she specifically said 2020 out of China. So even if no one believes that book, there is an actual psychic that prophesied about it. And this is a long time ago. I think it was from the 80s or the 90s. I think. But it was at least a decade ago, so there's no way she could have known this information. I'm just scrolling down and reading it. I don't think there's any, white versus black. We're all energy, so I don't really understand people competing against skin color. I think it's very stupid. Someone did say, so whites are the aliens bred into genes? No, everyone actually has that. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. Everybody has a certain level. I was talking about certain star systems, which, did it focused on certain areas a little bit more. I just don't want any white supremacy in my chat. Okay? None of that shit is fucking allowed. Don't continue it. I will block you. Someone's asking me, what do I think about Hinduism? I don't really have a specific opinion on it. I agree with some things, other things I don't. You know what I do find very interesting about India is the ancient Vedic knowledge. That shit, everyone should be researching into the Vedic knowledge. Those texts, that information is incredible. And it's real writings, real records. Look into it if you're interested in that. So I definitely know that India was one of the spiritual places on the planet. That's why they have certain information. It's why they have certain, people that are conscious on a certain level. But I don't support every guru. I think that there's many gurus who have been a little bit self-serving, maybe, using their knowledge and wisdoms to a certain power. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I listened to one guru once, and even though what he was saying might have been true on many levels, in the end, it was very like, I am the incarnation of this. I am the incarnation of this. I am the realization of this. And it was like, okay, where's the collective fit into this again? You know what I mean? It started to become about him and what he was the proof of the incarnations of all these deities and what they had promised or what they said people could be. And it was like, cool, when you start doing that, you really override everything that it's about, because you just stop putting yourself on this platform of, so it's stupid. It's stupid. I hate when I see leaders do that. It's like they make money or they feed power. Just because someone's a shaman doesn't mean that they have your best interest at heart. It means that they are in touch with the other dimensions more than you, so they know how to manipulate you more. It doesn't mean that they're bad necessarily, but it means that you should be aware that it doesn't mean that they're not self-serving. I've heard of many stories of people even going to South America and being taken advantage of by certain shamans, because while they were under these states, this shaman was like accessing and tapping into their energy and like feeding off of them, and you don't know what's attached to them. So I definitely think that people should be aware. Okay, give me a second to go down through the... I have someone ask, what's your thoughts on the inner earth societies? I don't think it's maybe as literal as some people think. I think that certain things are transdimensional in nature and interdimensional in nature. I honestly believe that you'll find things that are like from the, the Skinwalker Ranch. I do, and even like the Yeti, abdominal snowman. I actually think that there's certain creatures that are transdimensional that come in through portals. I really do. And all of, the indigenous people all talk about it too. Native Americans. And they were the people who had access to portals. They know where they are, right? How many white men fucking know where the portals are, At least, and all their peoples know. Not many people are revealing that information. It's mostly the indigenous people that had a regular community relationship with the portals. So they had these portals, and they knew how to open and close them. They knew how to interact with them, and I think that's why they are all of the communities that talk about these other creatures and are aware of them, because I think it was just more normal for them. They knew that it wasn't so much a literal thing just here in this dimension and a species that was just from here. Can I ask you what your thoughts on dreams are? Mine are like pre-manifestations of my reality, like they're a preview for me, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean, I get that all the time as well. Look, dreams are really powerful. For me to explain dreams in this one session, like that's so, you got multiple brainwave states that you're dealing with. Everyone goes into other dimensions when they're sleeping, mind you. You're being interacted with by other energy forms all the time, or you're visiting the other dimensions. You know, it can only happen because you're tapped out. You're not sitting in that beta brainwave state where you're trying to control your linear reality. I mean, I think humans are hilarious sometimes. Trying to control everything. Trying to, you know, I know everything in my reality. But there's many things going on in your dream, basically. There's many different things. Can you manifest things from your dreams? Yes. For me, I get messages delivered about other people, about their lives, about things that I get delivered to in my dream. Sometimes they're just talking to me telepathically, you know, and I don't even really know this person very well. So, you know, those things happen. So you can experience a lot of different things. If you want to invite certain things to happen, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You can ask energy forms that you're connected to show you. You can ask your guides. Dream state is incredibly powerful. It is one of the most powerful states because right now you have no fucking idea what you're doing when you're awake. So it's like knocking someone out. Do you know, putting them under anesthesia and getting shit done because they're like too like, what are you doing to me when you're awake, or I don't understand, or this hurts, you know. It's kind of like that. I don't know, that's just making me laugh. Again, if you judge things by skin color, it's a very low level of consciousness you're operating at right there. You might want to get out of that, because that level of vibration, there's a cap to vibration. You can't really go much higher if you keep thinking like that. How old were you when you started your awakened journey? I don't know. Do any of us ever really know? There's shit that happens to you as a kid, as a teenager, you're not even conscious of, which is like very powerful stuff, you know. I would probably say as a conscious adult, it would be my mid-20s. I'm 34 this year, so in my probably a good decade ago. But when did the psychic stuff start? That way before. Particularly, it started to push through so strong in my 20s. Like when I turned 20, and then the years, that shit just started to, and it's continued, and it's getting stronger all the time. Reading. So the comments about Tesla and what he was interested in, Tesla was super interested in anything esoteric. So yeah, he was delving into all different teachings of stuff because it comforted him. And I know that he said that Buddhism actually comforted him, you know. Just like I felt the same way when I found out about Taoism, when I was purely through researching. And I was like, oh my God, this makes more sense than almost anything I've ever read. But again, I don't like to put labels on my faith. I think that they're just labels defined maybe by different certain teachings of different countries and cultures. Someone was saying I was really surprised by the Osho documentary on Netflix. Yeah, a lot of people don't know things about him, but a lot of the guru things, they're very cult-like. You know, people don't really realize there's like money being involved, and not saying that they're not knowledgeable. These people are very, very intelligent, which is why they get into that status in the first place. They're very talented and they're definitely accessing stuff, but some people just get a bit self-serving. Okay, again, guys, there's no fuck Trump and like Trump's just a human being. Do you know what I mean? Let's not compare one individual to a whole class of racism or anything like that. I don't want any of that in my chats. I'm probably a little bit behind, but I'm trying to catch up. I won't be able to answer every single question, but I'm just trying to. Thoughts on Elon Musk and artificial intelligence? Well, I have blogged about this before. I've got very mixed feelings towards Elon Musk. Do I think he's very intelligent? Yeah, absolutely. And I will never take that away from him. Do I think that he is one of the main investors in transhumanism? Yeah, he's definitely one of them. Do I support transhumanism? Fuck no. Fuck no. It is the opposite of consciousness expansion. It is literally the same problem that other higher dimensional beings that are infested with nanotechnology that don't have control. So when you guys complain and like about grays or the planet's like this, the planet has all these problems, and then the draconians, like, that's because all of these other beings are also infected with this AI shit. Like, it's the only thing that makes sense to me. It's the only thing that even in channeling books and, you know, channeling books that have nothing to do with each other all speak about the same thing or go into the same thing, or people in astral projection that I've researched and experiences that they have, and some of the weird experiences where they go into certain dimensions or voids where it starts to not make any sense. You know, it gets very Matrix-like. So yeah, I don't support it. I really don't. I think that artificial intelligence can be used in a certain way, but I think that if you are going to rely on it instead of it just naturally expanding in consciousness, you're defeating the purpose of being here, and you're going to follow the same path as probably a lot of other infiltrated dimensions and planets and civilizations. I think you're handing over power, you know? And where's it coming from? Where's the information coming from? I mean, you know, Elon wants, you know, humans to get off this planet, you know, and Linda Moulton Howe will always be like, well, is something going to happen here? Is this why he wants us to leave the planet? Or is this just because he wants to be the first for legacy, you know, reasons? But no, I do not support artificial intelligence. Like, how many movies do you need to make you question the abilities? I mean, you can take that as serious comment or not serious, but why are people investing so much money in artificial intelligence and they're not investing in the natural ways of human expansion? It's because they make money off the other systems. You have to be able to see through that. Money. Motive. Money is good if you're going to use it to help humanity, not to just profit off it and get it stuck in a void of evolution. The ways... Sorry, this comment cracks me up. The way you slide in the occasional fucking gets me. I'm sorry, I'm Australian. And this is such a normal way of us expressing things, even for females. It's maybe too much sometimes, but it just comes out, and that's just how I express myself. So sorry if it offends people, but it's probably not going to stop. You know, it is what it is. It's like, I feel like sometimes I have to throw it out there for people to shut up and listen to me or take me seriously, or to know to, you know, not be stupid about a certain topic that they might be getting, like the whole racism thing. Someone was saying, but you can discriminate based on pigment. There is a difference, particularly melanin. Care to elaborate on melanin's powers outside of pigmentation? I don't really think there's a need to. I think that humans have been so brainwashed with racism that for you guys to even evolve, you're going to need to take a few steps back and stop focusing on skin color. Period. Stop focusing on your past traumas within the collective, because you won't heal and you'll never step into your power. You will keep a repeated vibration over and over again, which will continue in your DNA, which will roll over into the future generations that you need to fucking step up and get out of this old paradigm. You need them to not be like that. So let's just forget about skin color. Who fucking cares? I don't care what your hair color is. I don't care what you look like. What does your energy field look like? Where's your energy at? Where is their energy at? Fuck race. Fuck nationality, ethnicity. These are all programs. These are labels of the third dimension or lower aspects of third dimensions. It doesn't matter in higher dimensions. You know, there's you, and you exist right now in a higher dimension that doesn't give a fuck about what skin color you are or what we are. I'm not attacking anyone on this. I'm just sick of humans being obsessed. You know, God, it's like the whole, like, why do you care about what flag you're from? You're like, but it's my people. And it was like, no, that flag was your king, your government going, we fucking own you. If we go to war, you belong to us. You know, the more people we own, the more power we have, or whatever. Who fucking cares? I want humans to just step out of it. What is your energy field? That is the truer essence of you, because that's connecting you to not just this dimension. It's connecting you to even all of these other higher aspects of you. Let's acknowledge a person not by where they're from or anything like that. If you want to enjoy color, not color, but like a cultural things, cultural different music, and that's fine. That's like eating different varieties of food and walking out to the forest and seeing beautiful different colors of flowers, you know. I can understand that on surface level to an extent. But let's start thinking about energy fields. Let's start thinking about their vibration. Let's start identifying people through that, because that is the pure, like more pure way of processing information. Anyway, I just get passionate about this sometimes. So someone was asking me to give me some personal comments on the law of attraction. I will be doing that. I already recorded the video earlier today, so I just need to fine tune it and cut that down a little bit more. And that's going to talk about affirmations and how to step into your power more and why they don't work for a lot of people. Oh, I'm so behind in these comments. Someone actually asked me, what book do you recommend that started your thirst for more knowledge? Can you believe that the first book that I ever read was actually a novel? It was not a real story, but it was the enjoyment of being able to just go through a story and imagine and then relate it to myself. And it was the Celestine Prophecy. That book, I had the PDF version that I'd downloaded online. I was just emailing it to everyone. I was like, read this, it's gonna change your life. Because when you read that and you're ready, I think, to understand multidimensional reality, or just understanding your intuition, understanding how things might have energy fields, that starts, you're like, oh, yeah, I get that. That resonates with me, what this person, the whole journey and what they're going through, and how they have to make decisions based on like the power of now, you know, like this instant, what is that? Where do I go? Instead of listening to all of these other muddled voices and fears and all the stuff in your head. It's like, what do I do? And it just connects you a lot more to your intuition. It makes it so much more real to you, so you can build that relationship. Because building your relationship with your intuition is building your relationship to your multidimensional self. And that's the motherfucking key right there. Sorry. My friends are always like, you get into chola. Personal joke, anyway. Do you think that Elon Musk is esoteric? That's a hard question, because everything that he teaches is like so not. It is just not. But who knows if they're really involved with occultism. One thing that I do agree with in relation to Elon Musk was that I did post a video with him and his opinion. These Middle Eastern people asking their opinion on his opinion on extraterrestrial life, and he says to them, I think they're already here. I think that we're not really on a level of evolution yet that really understands that. They've probably been here for a long time, probably watching us and involved with us and walking around with us or whatever. So he was probably aware of evolution on that level, which is good. But transhumanism, no, Elon Musk, no. What will happen if the world economy crashes? Chaos. I don't really know. Like, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. But I think that certain things will happen for the new paradigm to enter, and certain old fortresses will fall, but there'll be chaos. You know, it's like the purging of this whole reality. You know, there will be chaos involved, you know, through that process. It's like being sick and your body wanting to get something out. It's going to throw up. It's going to vomit. It's going to purge. And it's not going to be pleasant, but it'll only be for a period of time. Beauty is part of the golden ratio, Fibonacci sequence, etc. It's all mathematics. What we call beauty, you can't call it racism. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't think that was affiliated with what I was trying to highlight. Racism is not part of diversity. You know, if you were thinking I was saying I understand diversity. I get that. It's like going out into the forest and seeing different beautiful flowers and trees, and so I get that. But racism starts to involve status, and that's when cultural status and war status and power, like, that's what I'm talking about. It's a whole other different thing. Just reading through, guys. Thanks to everyone who did tune in, though. Speaking about enjoying different foods, what do you think about veganism versus eating animal products? I don't want to get too much into it because it's, you know, a lot of people have very different opinions. But look, to cut it short, either way, this is a different, like, you can break this down into different compartments, right? We can focus on the animal industry and how abused it is and how exploited it is, right? Yes, that is fucked up and that has to stop. Do certain vessels operate differently to other ones? Yeah. Can everyone eat the same diet? No. For example, I can't be vegan because I'm anaphylactic to any nut product. I'm allergic to avocado, and I was born like that. So going into a vegan restaurant is a nightmare for me because I can actually die. So, you know, there's different things. I also know that we can remove, you know, through even your hand, you can actually remove frequencies from meat. So any damaging frequency within the meat, you can actually remove it. And that's a whole other thing. But anyway, it's going to cut me off now, guys. 9 seconds remaining. I love you all. Thank you much for tuning in. Mwah.